Hi, my name is Konstantin. Today I'm going to show you how our real estate sales CRM works. Probably the first thing you need to understand is that this is a multi-module comprehensive solution for real estate sales. It consists of stacking plan, which is basically a registry of units in stock with some management capabilities, website integration that you use to show your apartments or other real estate on your website, and capabilities to cooperate with sales partners like real estate agencies. Another important module is CRM module, that is where we register our leads, the prospective customers of the company, and also we guide those leads through the sales funnel, analyze our performance, use smart tasks to work with the leads. And the CRM module is built in a way that is really easy to use for real estate sales process. Another important thing is the bot that sends notifications to sales executives and manages reservations. It also notifies about due tasks. All of the modules work together in a common workflow. So you have leads, apartments, stock, deals, bookings, after-sales service, sales partner relations, all in one place. But before we dive into the interface, I really want to explain a challenge product is solving. Real estate companies spend a lot of money on advertisement, enormous budgets to generate a qualified incoming sales request. However, 61% of those requests don't receive any proper treatment. They are poorly managed and lost immediately after the first phone conversation. And it hurts the business quite drastically. What's even worse is there is a common misconception on how sales problems need to be dealt with in real estate. The way to increase sales in 2 times is not doubling marketing spend. The right way to increase sales in 2 times is to increase your key metrics, like conversion rates, by just 25%. All in-funnel changes produce compounding effect. That is an important aspect that slips away if you don't look at your business as a math model. By the way, that math model doesn't have to be complex to be useful. Let's say we want 10 million in the income. To get that number with an average deal total of 1 million, we need 10 deals. That's pretty much straightforward. But to get those 10 deals, we need a certain amount of leads, and that would depend on the effectiveness of our conversion, effectiveness of our sales funnel. Like if we convert on average 5% of the leads into the customers, then to make 10 deals we need 200 leads. And there's another conversion rate from the contacts, like in the simplified model it would be website visitors, like people go to your website to see information about your real estate project, and some of them give their contact information or call a phone on the website. So we also need a good conversion here as well. And those numbers are compounding because they are part of the same math model. So if you adjust numbers, any of the numbers here, you have a compounding effect, and it improves your result income quite drastically. Now, in the real life, we won't go backwards. On the math model, we would measure its performance and then test each new solution or initiative against it. The good news about EstOffice solution is that it is already tested against real-life math model of a real estate company, and the results are very good. We increased conversion rate over 35%. It was actually 38%. And that increased the number of deals of the company by 20, and the resulting income was 15 million higher than the year before, when they didn't use EstOffice product and just managed sales in the Excel. And this result is statistically significant. So we are really sure that we're bringing value to the companies that are using the product. And it's probably a good time to jump into the demo and show you how these results are retrieved. So demo time. So what we covered today, how to ensure all leads are registered within a system, Incoming call workflow, what we do on a call, how do we find apartments that lead is interested in, and also the meeting with the lead, how to process it within a system. Contact information of a lead, how to manage it, how to add additional contact person. Roles, the difference between admin and user. Working with tasks and smart tasks that we have in the system. Supervisor's oversight, day and week overview in the dashboard. Mass messaging within a system and how to market. Sharing of stock with sales partners via a public link. So that's our program for today. It would be a quick and easy to follow tutorial for your reference. So let's start from item number 1, how to ensure leads are registered within a CRM. That's not something to do with the software, it's more of an organizational aspect. We see this all over the companies that we are servicing, that in order to ensure all of the leads have proper treatment and are in the system with the relevant information, you need to have a dedicated person, like a hotline manager. It could have other responsibilities, so it could be a person that does hotline management 80% of the time and 20% of the time does something else. But there still needs to be that person, because if you don't have the person that manages hotline, then you suffer from certain sales executives being not so warm with calls if they have a client in place in the sales office. It's very usual for them to treat those calls very badly. So it doesn't matter if you have IP telephony or doesn't have this integration, the system works really well even without. So for this manager, when you receive a call, if you have telephony integration, it would after a click on the notification immediately open this new lead form with telephone number pre-filled, like you need to enter the name and other information. If you don't have the integration, the process is still very simple. Like if you're on this lead screen and it should be opened in the manager the whole day, you can click tab and you start using search, and here you would enter a phone number of a person, and you immediately see that there's nothing in the system, so it's a new lead. You can click enter and it initiates the new lead screen. So we would enter a name, let's say Mike, or actually we had a Mike in the system, so let's make it Nicholas. And the phone number is already there. The comment is a memo that is used. That's a very generic field, and it is used in many situations, and it's really powerful. Like you can create a certain convention to use comment in a certain way, like for example, if that's a hotline manager and he wants this lead to be taken urgently into work by other managers, and so what he can do is he can create a memo here like urgent, and also add urgent for Lily, so Lily knows that she needs to take care of this lead specifically. Other information that could be added, items of interest. It's really useful later on for filtering, for targeting leads that are interested in certain types of units, like 1 room, 2 room, and maybe only in completed projects. And also you can specify the projects, but it's optional field, but also useful for filtering the leads. Add group, the customer came, add source, those fields are optional. It's the way it is set up by an admin, but as you see, admin made a meeting field required, so we need to specify that meeting not yet happened. And we need to specify lead status, like it's really important thing for leads nurturing. I would describe lead status as in a more detail a little shortly, but for now let's say that this lead we're adding here was not very specific, was not asking about certain buildings, like it was just asked about a price, so we would mark it as unspecific. And now we can click save lead, and after a short while we see that this lead was created, and it is assigned right now to the last working lead manager. In this case it's admin, We see what lead was interested in, its status, and how far that we just talked with this lead. And we have phone information but don't have email right now. So what Lily could do as another manager, she could open the leads page, and by default it is sorted in the updated order, so Lily immediately sees Nicholas on top, and if she got a message from the hotline manager that there's a new lead, she can immediately jump into and have a lead record before her eyes. So if Lily doesn't see Nicholas, if a lot of calls, she can simply make a search and immediately sees the record she's interested in. So let's talk a bit more about the statuses of leads. We have a really sophisticated system here, but again, really simple to use. So we have a sales funnel group. That's the statuses where leads go to the purchasing. And this sales funnel is built in a way of increasing specificity of the request. Like when we just got a contact information through the website, it's the least amount of information. When we have a call of a person that just asks about a price, doesn't tell his or her name, and simply ends the call, then it's an unspecific request and we mark it that way. If a person asks about the buildings, about certain projects of our company, it's more specific request, so it's closer to the purchase. And if a person indicates that certain buildings are of interest, that he or she has a short list of the buildings, that it's even closer to the deal. If someone asks about apartments or has short list of apartments, it's even closer. Like you see, we go from really unspecific but to very specific questions, and before the deal many leads would start negotiation, like they would start asking about specific contract aspects and so on and so forth. Sometimes this stage could be omitted, like they would go from a short list of apartments to a customer. But it's good to have this to track those leads separately. We have a few automatic statuses. So when you add an apartment, when you sell an apartment for the lead, it would be automatically set to customer. And if that customer cancels a deal, then it would also be an automatic status. That's something you don't need to care about, and it's really good. And sometimes if leads are for a really long time in the unspecific state and we follow up with them and they still don't indicate that they're willing to go further, then we would be able to mark them with bad fit collection of statuses. We can mark them the no intention to buy and don't spend our time on them, or they simply don't have a budget for the purchase and they have no potential. Or it's our employee and we're selling an apartment to the employee of a company. But they're also the group for leads that have potential, but we got a first no from them. We treat those leads with certain care, because if we don't work with them really good, we have a real chance to lose them. They are already outside of a normal sales funnel. We got a no from them. And we have a lost group. That's the last useful group. When we lost a lead and it's permanent, or at least for a long time, like they bought from a competitor, bought on a secondary market, we lost them because we didn't convince them that location is good for them, or we lost them because we didn't have a stock, like they didn't find an apartment they can buy. So that's about it, about sales funnel and statuses. It's important to know that you can set up this system for yourself, like if you see that you need something else. But what we see from the many customers, that this system works really well for real estate companies. It doesn't allow to lose track of certain leads. It allows to pay attention to to leads that needs treatment, and it's a really powerful and effective system. And it also allows you to analyze how your business is doing. Like if you would see that there is a lot of leads that are in the status location bad fit, you would maybe start thinking about new locations to start projects. Or if you see there's a lot of leads lately that don't find something suitable by parameters, you would consider adding new sections or adding new houses to the project with different kind of units, with maybe this different total area, something like this. And when the lead comes to the office, we certainly need to mark it as a meeting. So what we would do is we would open the lead like this, and we would go to the custom fields section, click edit, and change meeting from not yet to happened. Click save, and then what we could do, we could add this lead to clipboard, and after clicking this, what happens is really interesting. We have this lead in the clipboard, and the units screen is opened, and right now we can easily add apartments of interest or book an apartment. Like we can, let's say Christopher Davis was interested in 2-room apartments, so we can filter out only 2-room apartments. And we immediately see what is within the range of interest. We see that in the first section of Crystal Tower number 1, we have 17 apartments that match completely. We don't have anything that match closely, and I would tell you a bit about close match in a moment. And we also immediately see that in section number 2, which is would be a little later completed, it's third quarter of 29, we have also 20 apartments, so we don't need to open it immediately or open different screens to know what we have to offer. And we also immediately search on other buildings of the project and other projects. Actually, like we can click here to see that in Lima View project in this section we have 3 matches, and that's something we can also offer. So what we can do next, we can show these apartments to the client. Like we can have an iPad with us, or we can show on the screen. Like we can open a screen with a little information of the apartment. Like we can see the image, other images like the floor plan and visualizations of the project. And we see the main information, its status, and if person is interested in this apartment, as you see, we still see all of the stacking plans, so it's really easy to navigate. We see what's opened. We can then open a unit pop-up. It's what we call the screen. When you see the full information of the apartment, the gallery, the tasks, and the history of unit, and we can add interests and book. How we would add interest? Like to add interest, it's pretty simple. It's one click. When we have lead in the work, we just click add lead, and boom, we have Christopher Davis here. We see the status. So if we have more, and by the way, interested leads is something that would have a certain historical order, like the first person to be interested in the apartment would be the first, and the second would be the second, and so on and so forth. And if apartment is free right now, you see the status is free. We have other statuses, and they are also customizable. So we can theoretically book this apartment for Christopher Davis according to the policy of the company. Like we have booked for 3 days, and we can click book for Christopher Davis. And voila, he's here. We see who added this reservation. We see information about Christopher Davis, like the due date for reservation is in 3 days. We can extend this term if we have negotiated this. We can cancel reservation right away. If we have a better lead for that apartment. It's really useful to have this option. And we also see an additional contact, and something I want to also show you next, that we can, to the Christopher Davis, we can attach additional people. That could be a wife or in this case it's a wife, but it could also be a real estate agent, anything. And we also can add telephone numbers, other contact information. There's no limit on that. For Christopher Davis, we can go to the information about this lead, like we see the history of interaction, we see the status, we see active reservations, we see other deals if they were, we see who worked with this lead, like a full history, full overview. We see tasks that we have, custom fields that can be set up on the company level, and it's really sophisticated customization tool. We see what was the projects interested, and if we want to add contact information, we can click Edit Lead, add phone, email, or URL, so we can add additional phone number, or Facebook, or Messenger URL, and we would have those additional information here, and there's no limit on that. And if we're done with the meeting and we've booked all of lead wanted, and we can go over to the next lead, we can simply click here to end this working with process, and we would land on the leads page again and can take a new lead into work and continue from that. And what we see here is that Christopher Davis now has an additional interest in the apartment and additional booking that is active reservation. We see who worked with it last and when, and actually we can easily open this apartment from here, so we don't need to go there, and we can see and quickly sell this apartment to this lead, like just changing the status to sold. And we can also open the section. If we, for example, if we open this apartment and it is already sold, but we want to find something else for Christopher, we would be able to open this section. And again, useful tip, if you click with the middle mouse button, or if you click with Command key, it opens in the new window, and you don't need to close this and then go back in the browser. And in this section, by the way, the last search we applied is immediately applied, so it's really useful. You don't need to re-specify search if you're working with one lead. And we can immediately find another apartment replacement, like let's reset filter for now. Click one room apartments, and we see the different set right now, and maybe we want to filter out for the story, like until 6th floor and from 3rd. And what you see is right now only those apartments are within the range of the total match, and we see that these apartments, they are close match. Like in many cases we can negotiate a person to buy apartment on the floor that on the story that wasn't their original request. And we see these similar close matches across other sections too. Here we can see images of the project, and you can attach as many as you want. As for this screen, it's customizable, so you can add, let's reset filter for now. You can add some tooltips like features of apartments, and it's really good to make every manager work as your best manager. Like they would know how to sell each of the apartments. They wouldn't know what to tell about, what to emphasize. And there's also a view when we show prices immediately, and the price of 1 square meter. And we can also hide sold apartments for cleaner view. And the smaller height is useful when you have a big multi-story building with a lot of stories, and you want to have a better overview, so it's also an option here. Now let's go to the roles. We have two roles within the system, the admin and the user. So what admin can do is, what admin is different is admin can see a project screen and reports, and they can manage users and other settings. And usually sales executives are of the permissions user, and they only see units and list screen, so they can only see projects that are in stock. Like, they don't see project that you as an admin of the system add and it's not yet finished. Like, you don't want managers, sales executives to see this. So this projects area is something you would see as an admin. Here you can add projects. It's a really easy to use interface, like the easiest you would ever work adding a new project, new real estate projects for salespeople to work with. So you simply specify project name, country, city, location. Then in each project you can create houses, multi-story buildings, or add villas, plots, townhouses. In each of the multi-story buildings you can add gallery and specify number of sections, and for each of the section we have a setup process that is really convenient. Like, you can add a new project for your salespeople to work with in a matter of 10-15 minutes if you have all of the images at hand. The process is multi-step. You create a basic layout, like 9x7 grid, and then you specify a number of rooms, and it's really convenient that we can add information about the rows, about the columns, and it's being filled in all over the section. Like, you can change here and you can see it's applied. Then you would add area, numbering, prices, images, and by the way, I want to also take a note here that adding images is also very easy. Like, you have a master plan that is applied to all of the units. You have floor plans that you mark for certain stories. Like, you need to upload one image and simply mark it for the stories. And for floor plans of units you have the similar process. Like, you upload an image and you mark which units are linked to it. And you also can add visualizations, like 3D visualizations and so on. Features is also something I showed briefly. Like, you can add custom information or features information of apartments. Like, it's easy to split, or has panoramic window, and you can mark and you can see which apartments have certain features. You can add custom fields. Like, any information you want can be added to the system. The last step would be to just publish a section for salespeople to work with. Like, by default it's in unpublished draft state. And before giving for salespeople to work with, you can quickly change statuses. Like, if this section was already being sold, you can simply mark apartments with sold status, like go like this, and you would be able to start selling using system without the need to add every deal you had throughout the year. So that's about it for the adding new sections, adding new projects, and that's something admin can do. Let's now go to working with tasks and smart tasks. So, heading over to tasks and smart tasks. Working with tasks is really easy in this system. We can have tasks for leads and for apartments as well. Like, you would use tasks for apartments for notifications in cases like when you have a potential customer that wants to be notified when the apartment is free, and that's when you use a task for the unit. Right now I would show you a task for the lead. That is really common need. And to add a new task for this lead, you simply click add here, and immediately you see the text is pre-filled for follow-up. It's the most common thing because for many of the salespeople, it is really convenient to get notifications and like track leads they need to work with using tasks. So we have this option within the product, but we have also a better option of smart tasks that you don't need to add. But still, that's good to have both options for different mindsets, and it's really convenient for people that are used to tasks to have the most important information preset. Like we preset the text, and we set the tomorrow date as the default date, and it's what you would need 80% of the time. And it's also immediately set to you, so the person adding a task. So I just click save, and the task is here. I can mark it as finished, but completed. And I would receive an email with all of the tasks that are due today in the morning tomorrow. So that's a really convenient feature for things like following up with customers, but also we have tasks for deals, like when we... Let me show you quickly. When we sold an apartment, we can not only see the deal parameters, and also, by the way, they are customizable too, like you can add custom fields here. We can also have a tasks of the deal. Like that would be an after-sales servicing. For example, you need to sign papers and stuff like this, and that's where you can use tasks too and get notifications and go paperless in this regard too. And the other thing is smart tasks. Is something we have on the lead screen, like the first thing on the right-hand side. This section. It's basically a combinations of filters like this. Like, let me show it. Like when you create a filter, for example, lead status is website request, and you see the result of this query, the one lead matches, and we can show you a query that created this. And just for easy working with the queries, which is really powerful, like developers' magic force. We allow to work with it using smart tasks that are preset and also could be customized for your company, but the set of smart tasks we have works really well for real estate companies, so feel free to use it. So what we have here, we have a collection of smart tasks for that you would enter every day. For example, expiring reservations, you can click. You can see that there's nothing to expire today. Expiring tomorrow, again, we don't have those kind of reservations at the moment. You can also see all active reservations, and here you can see information like what to do with people here. Like this is the view to monitor all active reservations. You can also go to negotiations under control. You would see all of the people in the status negotiation that you need to control, and that is hot leads that are all discussing specific deal terms. We need to take care of them. The call again collection would show people with that we tried to call but never reached. And there are some categories of smart tasks that show up at a certain periods of time. Like we don't need to do this every day. We need to do this every second or third day. So that's why we have every Tuesday and Friday and every Wednesday. So every Tuesday and Friday we work with leads that asked about buildings or they were unspecific, and other people in the beginning of a sales funnel, and for them we need to define a short list and move them forward. And for sales manager we have these information boxes, like they would allow to know how to use this smart task, what to do with these people. So it's basically a prepared list of people to work with, basically a calling list. So you could start calling those people, and as you call and add notes to them, they would disappear from this list. So your work is done when the list is empty, and it's easy for supervisors to check the work. That what they need to do is simply go at the end of the day and see smart tasks if there are any people there, and it's really easy to see that people work with desired leads, and don't let people slip away. And we also have other collections for handling a price objection. Maybe we don't we don't have in this account right now. So it's really good, and it's completely automatic, so you don't need to manage it. It manages automatically, or you just change statuses, add notes, and that's about it. And also I want to emphasize that basically what Salesforce do in the system most of the time is either adds a note to the history or updates the status of the lead. That's basically the main part of the work, and it's really easy two tools, but in the combination they work really powerful way. And just by looking at statuses and how the lead is going through the statuses within a history, you can tell if that lead has potential. Like, you can qualify leads on this criteria. So it's really good that just those two tools that are really easy to use and really easy to master give you so much capabilities. And as for supervisor oversight, what the supervisor could do is either use smart tasks like I showed, or can simply use filtering, because it's basically the same thing. Like if I want to see what admin did and what did today, then I would see those three leads match, and that's how easy it is to have a full overview of your team, how they're doing. And it's also a good tool to get answers to questions that are really complicated, and it's really hard to answer without an specified analytic tool. So we give you at your hand for filtering all of the custom fields, all of the lead information, what apartments they are interested, like you can search by unique ID or sections, or what type of how many bedrooms, the area of apartment they're interested or booked, search by notes quantity, if they have notes or don't have notes, when the note were added, who created the note, what is the content of the note. And it's really powerful analytics and workflow tool. If we, for example, want to mass message a certain segment of people, what we would do, we would first filter out a segment we're interested in. For example, we are interested in people that were asking about one-room apartments. And then we can export this list to Excel, upload to a system that takes care of sending the messages. And then we can add the bulk edit and add a note that they received an email like this, simply save, and so I can add this note to these 5 lists. And that's an easy way to keep track of what people received your email campaigns or SMS campaigns. And I think we're pretty much done with this tutorial. I want to show you a few little last things. The first is a sharing link of an apartment. It's something you can send to your client. It shows basic information about apartment with a print button. It's also useful for Salesforce to quickly print out information about apartment and give to a customer. And this link is mobile ready, mobile responsive, so you can send it to a customer and he or she would be able to see the information. And it's really convenient to copy those links if a customer is interested in many apartments. Like, what you can do is you can open the lead and let's check a lead that has some interests and bookings, Christopher Davis. And we go to the interests and we can copy units info for delivery, and it's a prepared text. Let me show it here. It has it actually has a link right now, but it has all of the information, all of the links to those apartments that we got for Christopher Davis, and he can take a look at those at home or from the mobile device. It has all of the images. And the other kind of sharing is when we have sales partners. It could be sales agencies, and we want to give them the unit stock that we're working, but with some limited functionality. Like they don't have full visibility into our account. They only see what we want them to see. Like we want them to see what we have in stock, what they can propose to their prospective customers. We want them to use filters. We want them to see images, our phone, but we don't show the lead information. All they can see is this little screen with apartment floor plan and the information and the status. They still can use filtering and be capable, fully capable in searching apartments for leads. And we see that companies that use this kind of sharing, first of all, it's really simple. You just need to copy over the link here. Let me show it. We have this public link. You just copy it, send to your sales partner, and that's it. It updates automatically. They don't need to receive a new Excel file from you, update it in the system. A lot of manual work and a lot of trial and error, a lot of human error. This is up to date immediately. Like when they make a search, it's already on the most recent statuses of apartments. And as you see, they only can see the information and maybe send a request through form or just call and book something for their customer. And it's also something you can add to your website if you want to give customers a view of what's currently in stock. And it would be the best place to see items in stock, and the statuses here would be up to date always. So I think we covered most of the things. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and see you soon on new tutorials of EstOffice. Thank you very much. Take care.